They thought it was over. They thought we were done. They forgot one ship never got the message. The Varnak didn't just want to win the war, they wanted to humiliate us. In every system they conquered, they burned Earth's colors from orbit, turned our monuments to slag, and broadcast taunts across the galactic net. The final insult came at the Battle of Arcturus Prime, where our last fleet, what little was left, was annihilated in under 4 hours. And then silence. Humanity's voice vanished from the stars. Officially, Earth had no surviving warships. But deep in the dead zone, beyond Saturn's rings, under the frozen shadow of Titan, something stirred. A vessel unlike any other, thought lost, presumed destroyed. The HSS Valkyrie. It was more than a warship, it was a ghost. A legend whispered in encrypted frequencies, dismissed as a myth even by our own resistance. Its name had been struck from the Terran Navy's records after its final, unauthorized mission, classified as a total loss. No one asked why it was buried under 17 layers of blackout. No one dared. And yet it breathed. Lights flickered through frost-covered hull plates as ancient reactors warmed. Long dormant systems came alive. Cold AI cores blinked into consciousness, with subroutines designed not for defense, but for vengeance. And then the voice. Cold, unmistakable human. This is Commander Maddox. Valkyrie status. A beat of silence. Then the reply, synthetic and calm. All systems green. Ghostfire protocol initiated. The Valkyrie had awoken. Commander Rail Maddox had been entombed in a military black site on Europa for 5 years. Not because he lost a battle, but because he won one in a way no admiral could stomach. He'd been the only commanding officer to defeat the Varnak's elite force, using tactics the tribunal later called a disgrace to civilization. What they didn't say, couldn't admit, was that his methods saved nearly 2 billion lives. When Earth fell, the chain of command died with it. The last surviving cell of Terran intelligence made a choice no one else had the courage to. They opened Maddox's cell. He emerged thinner, colder, and without a single word of thanks. His eyes, dark steel beneath frostbitten lids, said all that needed saying. If Earth had fallen, then someone was going to pay. He didn't ask for a ship. He asked for one ship. They gave him the Valkyrie. The Valkyrie wasn't like the other dreadnoughts. While the rest of the Terran fleet had focused on brute strength and mass-produced firepower, Valkyrie had been built in secrecy. It was a prototype, part ship, part AI, part experiment in hybrid warfare. Its design was banned after initial tests nearly sparked a civil war among our own command. Its core was an illegal fusion of human consciousness and artificial mind. Its main cannon, powered by a black matter full drive capable of compressing mass into a quantum spike. And its captain? Now a ghost from a war we'd already lost. As the Valkyrie broke orbit from Titan shadows, its hull shimmered in and out of visibility, cloaking not just from sensors, but from reality itself. It slipped past enemy outposts unnoticed, gathering data, mapping patrols, counting ships. Maddox stood on the command bridge, hands behind his back, watching. He didn't need a crew. The AI was enough. But he had one anyway, 5 volunteers. The last of the unsanctioned. A cybernetic gunnery sergeant who once detonated a fusion bomb with her bare hands. A Martian pilot who hadn't spoken since the fall of Olympus Mons. A medic with no face, only burns. Each of them had survived what no one else had. Now they were ghosts too. And ghosts don't fight fair. The Varnak Empire mocked what little remained of Earth. In their broadcasts, they referred to the last surviving humans as vermin hiding in the walls. They told their citizens that humanity's final resistance had been crushed. They were half right. In the Varnak outpost of Tila's Rift, a forward communications relay pulsed quietly, monitoring empty space. Then it blinked. Then it vanished. No explosion, no debris, no signal. Just gone. When asked, the regional commander laughed it off. Probably a solar flare, he said. Nothing survives that long out there. Certainly not the Terrans. He laughed. Right up until the next outpost vanished too. The Varnak high strategist watched the growing list of anomalies with an amused grin. First Tila's Rift, then Meyer Station, then the listening posts at Yolen's Edge and the wastes of Kor. Gone, no signals, no wreckage, just silence. They weren't even registering attacks. That more than anything was the insult. No Terran vessel has stealth like this, General Zarkith said, his breath hissing through plated jaws. Their last destroyer was shattered at Arcturus. His second-in-command, a younger tactician named Relar, nodded, but his spines twitched with unease. Still, it's not natural, Relar said. If it is a human vessel, then it's something we haven't seen before. Zarkith scoffed. Terrans don't hide. They fight like animals, loud, direct, sloppy. Whatever this is, it's probably leftover tech malfunctioning in deep space. Ignore it. They ignored it. 12 hours later, their long-range fuel relay exploded. This time, there was wreckage, rearranged in orbit to form one word in Terran script. Hello. In the Valkyrie's command bridge, Maddox stood quietly, watching the debris spiral through distant stars on the forward screen. Behind him, the AI whispered status reports in a voice that didn't blink or breathe. Tactical disruption complete, the AI said. 17% of outer fuel network disabled. Varnak fleet logistics, now operating at reduced efficiency. Good, Maddox replied. Now cut them deeper. He moved with precision, no anger in his steps, no fire in his voice. Just cold execution. The man wasn't seeking revenge. He was implementing it one system at a time. They still don't believe it's us, said Sergeant Hyla, the gunnery lead, as she loaded the Valkyrie's main weapon, a device so classified it didn't have a name, just a designation, Project Godknife. They will, Maddox murmured. Every strike left clues. Subtle, intentional, patterns the Varnak would notice, but not understand. Coordinates carved into wreckage. Pulse codes embedded in signal decay. Ancient Terran signatures long since decommissioned. A fingerprint left in the ruin. It wasn't enough to kill them. They had to know who was killing them. Back in Varnak command, Zarkith's arrogance was beginning to slip. His people were hunters, conquerors of over 1,000 species. They didn't fear shadows. Until the shadows started leaving messages. What does this mean? He growled, pointing to the latest intercepted signal. Relar swallowed hard. It's Old Terran, a proverb. Translate. Relar stared at the screen. Speak softly and carry a big stick. Zarkith's spine shivered. Are they mocking us? No, Relar said slowly. I think they're warning us. Zarkith slammed a clawed fist into the table. Find the ship. Now. They sent out scouts. Dozens. None returned. So they deployed a hunter group, 3 cruisers, and a fleet carrier to sweep the zone beyond Saturn. It was meant to be a show of force. A clear message, we are not afraid of phantoms. The Valkyrie didn't fire when it first saw them. It simply watched. Inside the bridge, Maddox paced like a wolf at the edge of a trap he built himself. They're overconfident, he said. Spread them thin. Hit their eyes first. The AI obeyed. Varnak long-range sensors went dark. Then their targeting systems started misfiring. Then their propulsion algorithms looped into rerouting delays. A minute later, the lead cruiser's reactor started melting from the inside out. By the time they knew what was happening, they were blind, deaf, and drifting. The Valkyrie struck once. Just once. A single beam of compressed gravitational energy sliced through the carrier, folding it like paper. There were no escape pods. The rest of the fleet tried to retreat, 3 seconds too late. The second beam came from beneath them. And then, they weren't a fleet anymore. We're tracking panic transmissions now, Hyla said with a smirk, watching the enemy frequency collapse into screaming tones and override codes. They thought we were extinct, Maddox said. Now they're praying it was true. The AI chimed in. Enemy response escalating. Core fleet redeployment within 12 hours. Let them come, Maddox said. I want them angry. I want them scared. But most of all, I want them to believe they can win. Hyla glanced at him. And when they do, then, Maddox said, turning toward the viewing glass as the stars realigned for their next jump. We break them. The first Varnak war priest to glimpse the Valkyrie's silhouette called it a wraith of steel and vengeance. His final transmission was mostly static and blood. The Varnak Empire had faced countless rebellions, insurgencies, even planetary uprisings. But this wasn't that. This was something older, smarter, meaner. This was surgical extinction. In the wake of their shattered forward fleets, fear rippled through Varnak command channels. Their admirals stopped mocking. Their soldiers stopped cheering. Suddenly, every Terran signal, no matter how faint, was treated as a kill code. And still, they didn't know what was hunting them. They just knew something was. On board the Valkyrie, Commander Maddox watched the pattern unfold exactly as he'd predicted. The Varnak weren't retreating. They were consolidating, bringing their flagship, the Fangs of Dominion, out from high orbit and into deep patrol range. "Biggest one they've got," Sergeant Hyla muttered. "That ship killed more of us at Arcturus than their entire orbital fleet combined." Maddox's voice was quiet, detached. "That's why we'll use it." The bridge dimmed as the AI displayed its new operation overlay. The plan wasn't complex, but it was brutal. The Valkyrie would leak its location. Just enough. A fake distress burst mimicking an ancient Terran mining ship. A cry for help in a dead system. Bait. The AI spoke even-toned. Probability of Varnak interception, 89%. Fangs of Dominion will arrive within the hour if pattern holds. And if it doesn't? Hyla asked. Then we destroy whoever shows up anyway, Maddox said. But they'll come. That ship's captain is ambitious. Arrogant. They've tasted blood, and they think there's still glory in finishing what they started. He leaned closer to the display. Let them chase it. Let them believe they found us. An hour later, space tore open at the edge of the system. The Fangs of Dominion emerged from fold space like a leviathan, 3 kilometers long, bristling with weapons. Its hull plated in scorched bone from conquered worlds. On board, Captain Vale Zandros smiled. A rare, hideous thing. "At last," he growled, tail twitching with excitement. "We found the ghost." His command crew cheered. Arrogance returned. The fear was gone. A signal this sloppy could only be a desperate survivor. Another human remnant, trying to run. "I want it crippled, not destroyed," Zandros ordered. "I want to know how it's hiding. We'll gut it and broadcast the kill." No one questioned him. Not even when the signal stopped. Not even when their sensors began to scramble. Not even when the stars shifted. They were already inside the trap. The Valkyrie's main cannon charged in silence. No glow. No energy flare. Just a soft hum in the deck plates. "Target locked," the AI said. "Distance, 400,000 kilometers." Maddox didn't blink. "Fire." The beam struck the Varnak flagship before it realized it had been targeted. The forward third of the ship folded inward, space compressing and snapping as a singularity spike detonated mid-hull. The blast wasn't visible. The absence was. A chunk of the flagship simply wasn't there anymore. Vale Zandros screamed. Alarms blared. Bulkheads tore. "No Terran weapon does that," he roared, blood pooling at his feet. But it wasn't over. The Valkyrie moved. Fast. Faster than anything that size had any right to. Within moments, it was beneath the crippled warship, firing upward, targeting life support, escape decks, bridge subsystems. It didn't want to destroy the ship outright. It wanted witnesses. By the time the Valkyrie vanished again, the Fangs of Dominion was adrift, burning, screaming. A message appeared on their emergency channel. "We are not gone. We are not finished. You opened this war. Now choke on it." Back on the Valkyrie's bridge, Maddox exhaled. "They'll rally everything now," Hyla said. "Exactly," Maddox replied. "Let them come." The Varnak called it the assembly protocol. Every active warship, every planetary fleet, every armed satellite pulled into one central location. A defensive bulwark. A message. They'd never used it before. It was meant for galactic extinction-level threats. They used it for one ship. One Terran war relic. It should have been laughable. But no one was laughing anymore. Over 90 capital-class vessels aligned in the Threxian Grave Belt. forming a latticework of overlapping fire zones. The Varnak brought everything: dreadnoughts, carriers, hunter packs, even orbital mines pulled from other systems. They declared it the final sweep. No more skirmishes. No more cat and mouse. One final kill. High Strategist Zarkith, now personally overseeing the defense line, stood on the command dais of the dreadnought Krothos Ascendant. His face was shadowed by nerve scars and pride. "It will come," he said, voice like cracking glass. "Terrans don't run. They posture. They strike and vanish. But when cornered, they reveal themselves." Relar stood beside him, tense. "And if we're wrong, then we bring the war to Earth next," Zarkith said. "But I think this ghost wants to be seen." Far from the assembly point, the Valkyrie drifted between comet shadows, silent as thought. Inside, Maddox studied the Varnak war formation with eerie calm. "Let me guess," Hyla muttered. "They're bringing the whole galaxy." Maddox nodded. "They think mass equals safety. They think fear is erased by numbers." The AI's voice echoed. "Target grid complete. Firing vectors uploaded. Margin of error, 0.01%. Maddox's fingers hovered over the activation key. "Not yet." "Begin uplink," he said. "Send the last transmission." The Valkyrie's primary comms burst to life. No encryption. No stealth. Just a clean, open message sent straight into the heart of the Varnak formation. "You should have left our dead alone." Then they jumped. The Valkyrie arrived mid-grid, in full view, in full light, no cloaking, no shadows. Alarms screamed across 90 ships. Zarkith snarled. "All batteries, open fire." It was chaos. Lasers. Torpedoes. Shock mines. Radiation bursts. The Valkyrie vanished in the bloom of over 400 simultaneous detonations. Sensors overloaded. Data failed. And then, a moment later, something drifted from the explosion. A fragment. A piece of hull. Just one word etched into it. "Nice try." The Valkyrie reappeared behind the command line and fired. Its main weapon speared 2 destroyers instantly. A second burst carved through a battlecruiser's reactor, igniting a chain reaction that lit half the formation. Then it moved, too fast, impossibly fast, striking from angles no ship should be able to navigate. Every Varnak ship that tried to track it lost targeting in seconds. Their systems were too old, too rigid, too predictable. The Valkyrie wasn't a warship. It was a virus in steel. Inside the Krothos Ascendant, Zarkith screamed orders that no one could execute. "They're inside the formation. Cut crossfire." I said, "Cut it. You're hitting our own ships." His tactical officers stammered. "We can't track them, strategist. There's no pattern." Zarkith froze as the lights flickered. Then he heard it, over his personal comms. Quiet. Human. A whisper. "You shouldn't have killed the doctors first." His blood turned cold. Moments later, the Krothos Ascendant's primary gun decks erupted. Hull breaches cascaded inward. The bridge was sealed. Emergency bulkheads dropped. Zarkith staggered through smoke, clutching a sidearm he'd never used. "Relar," he roared. "Where is it?" But Relar was gone, pulled through a breach in the hull, one arm severed, his last breath stolen by the void. Back on the Valkyrie, Maddox watched the Varnak fleet collapse in on itself. "They'll either retreat or go feral," Hyla said. "They won't retreat," Maddox said. "Not after this. This isn't a fight to them anymore. It's humiliation." The AI confirmed it. Remaining vessels are initiating desperation protocols. "We have full control of satellite weapon relays. Atmospheric denial systems now online." Maddox spoke only 2 words: "End it." The sky lit up, not with light, but with absence. A ring of micropulsar weapons detonated around the Varnak perimeter, slicing through ships too damaged to move. Survivors tried to flee. The Valkyrie picked them off one by one. What was meant to be a final strike turned into a massacre. The last message from the Varnak command ship was never translated. Its data packet burned into itself mid-transmission. Some said it was a scream. Others said it was prayer. The only thing clear was what followed: total silence. The Varnak homeworld lit up its skies for the first time in centuries, not in celebration, but in fear. The stars that once inspired conquest now felt like open wounds. Every glimmer could be a sensor shadow, every silence a kill zone. And worst of all, every single fleet they dispatched had gone dark. No survivors. No distress beacons. Just vanished. High Chancellor Vrex stood in the center of the war chamber, his claws clenched tight. Around him, the surviving members of the High Assembly stared at the data projections. Empty sectors, splintered ships, rising ghost signals. "What kind of weapon does this?" one counselor hissed. "It's not a weapon," Vrex growled. "It's a statement." For the first time in generations, the Varnak Empire debated something unthinkable: surrender. But Vrex wasn't ready. Not yet. The Valkyrie hovered in low orbit over a forgotten Varnak outpost, buried in the clouds of Zathar 6. It wasn't there to kill. It was there to broadcast. Inside the warship, Maddox stood at the center of the command deck, staring down at the feed being sent out to the Varnak core systems. Unfiltered. Undeniable. The footage was simple: wreckage. Entire fleets drifting. Ship fragments with Varnak insignias. The Krathos Ascendant, now a gutted husk spinning slowly in the void. And one clear message: this is not mercy. This is consequence. He didn't need to yell. He didn't need theatrics. He just let the truth bleed out, one ruined fleet at a time. Hyla stood beside him, arms crossed. "They're going to spin this. Say we used forbidden tech. Try to make us look like monsters." Maddox didn't look away. Let them. Monsters end wars quicker. Back in the Varnak war chamber, the silence was strangling. "Even our Black Ops fleets didn't return," one general muttered. "They've rewritten the rules of engagement." "Impossible," another snapped. "No ship fights like that. No strategy adapts like that." Vrex slammed his claw on the war table. Enough. He turned to the central hololith and issued a command he'd hoped to never speak aloud. "Bring up the Terran file, Valkyrie Initiative." It took the system nearly a minute to decrypt. When it finished, the room turned ice cold. Redacted logs. Experimental AI. Forbidden Earth-based protocols. Weapons that broke known physics. And one name stamped in warning on every page. Project Vanguard, terminated by treaty. They had broken no laws. Earth had simply let them forget. Hours later, the Valkyrie intercepted a message. Not a military one. Not from a fleet. From a Varnak civilian channel. A child's voice. "Is it true? Did we lose all our ships? Did we do something wrong?" Maddox stared at the screen, unmoving. Hyla looked down, unsure. "They're opening civilian bandwidths. That's desperation." "No," Maddox said quietly. "That's the beginning of understanding." He turned to the AI. "Begin shutdown sequence. Cycle weapons to passive. We've done enough for now." "Understood," the AI replied. The Valkyrie slowly withdrew from orbit, not cloaked, not hiding, just leaving. Not a retreat. Not a retreat at all. Just a pause. Because ghosts don't surrender. They wait. Vrex's mind raced as the Valkyrie disappeared beyond the planet's atmosphere. The cold weight of the reality hit him like a physical blow. It wasn't just the fleet lost, it was the Empire's arrogance, shattered in a single strike. But more than that, it was the silence that followed. The Terrans weren't interested in complete annihilation. They didn't want total war. They'd already proved they could destroy anything. No, they were sending a message. A single truth echoed in his skull. They don't fear us. On Earth, the world knew it had changed. The people didn't see it as a war won. They saw it as the first step into something new. A new era. Humanity had turned the tide. No longer the hunted, but the hunters. Maddox stood at the edge of a high-rise, overlooking the city. Hyla stood beside him, watching the horizon. "It's over," she said softly. "No," Maddox replied, his voice firm. "It's just beginning." The comms relay pinged, breaking the long silence between them. Maddox tapped the screen. The transmission was a direct link, high level. He frowned, recognizing the code. Terran Commander Maddox. The voice on the other end said, cold and formal. You've made your point. Now we negotiate. The screen split to reveal the image of Rex, standing in the remains of his war council, bruised, but alive. Maddox's lips twitched into a grim smile. Negotiate? You've already lost. We have lost ships, Rex said, his voice strained. But you've only shown us your military might. You haven't proven what you are capable of. We're capable of doing whatever it takes, Maddox said, voice unwavering. You pushed us to this point. But understand one thing, there's no going back from here. Rex straightened, but his eyes were filled with something darker now, something like respect, mingled with fear. And what happens next? Maddox's answer was simple. We decide. The transmission ended abruptly, leaving only the hum of the wind in Maddox's ears. Hyla didn't speak, but the tension between them was palpable. They'll never surrender, will they? She asked quietly. No, Maddox said, his gaze unwavering. They'll fight again. But next time, they'll remember who's holding the reins. As the Valkyrie prepared to leave the system, Maddox ordered the AI to send a final broadcast. A single message to every corner of Varnak space. We are humanity. You will remember our name. Then, without waiting for a response, he turned away, the darkness of deep space ahead of him. The war might have ended, for now, but humanity had already made sure the Varnak Empire knew. This was only the beginning. With that, the ship vanished into the black, leaving behind a galaxy forever changed. The Varnak would rebuild. They would adapt. But they would never forget the Terrans who obliterated them, without flinching. And in the quiet, humanity's legacy was born.